Welcome back to the Next Level Contractor, the channel that helps aspiring and new contractors go from 0 to 5 million plus in revenue without becoming just another failed statistic. I'm your host, Michael Bourgeois, and every episode we break down the real journey of building a successful contracting business, tracking the obstacles, strategies, and insider tips that will get you to the top faster and smarter. If you're ready to level up your business, let's get into it. So, this is a follow up episode, part two of Noah Davis and I answering some questions that came in. Noah Davis is a pretty awesome source of information. I'll tell you that. So he's been a guest of ours on some previous videos, so you got to go check him out. But Noah has an contractor's exam prep company. He has a contractor's insurance providing company. He's got a contractor's bookkeeping company. He's started multiple businesses within multiple industries, not just construction. He's bought, he's sold. I mean, he has got a mind for business, and we're fortunate that he's been willing to join us again today to answer some more questions. So, hey, Noah, how's it going? Thanks for being here.
Great to be here again, Michael. Love it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. So I know you're a busy guy. We're going to get right into it. We got some questions. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Let's see here. So we're going to start with, let me pick a good one here. Oh, there we go. Is it better to train someone from scratch or pay more for someone experienced right away?
But my answer would be to pay someone with more experience. You usually get what you pay for. Okay. So the more usually the more you pay, the more you get. But I will say that it is a challenge when you have, let's say you want to bring in, you have a company that's a small business, you're doing, a couple million a year, and you find this, you put an ad out for, you want an operations manager or, a big time project manager, and you put your ad out there and you get a bunch of inquiries, and you get the person that's coming in from, some big national company. And you're like, wow, they're getting paid $200,000 a year, $150,000 a year. Man, should I really pull the trigger? And clearly this person is going to be great for me because they're going to take my business to the next level. Well, it's like dealing with two different currencies, or apples and oranges. When you're talking about working within a very well organized running business, especially a national business or a multi-state business that has a lot of processes in place and runs a very organized system and things like that, and you have someone like that, and you bring them into let's say a small business that has zero processes. They may be someone that needs a lot of processes to be successful. Okay, so I would be so that was kind of a long answer, but what I'm trying to say is, yes, you want to pay for experience, but get the right experience. Find someone who's helped you other small businesses grow and help them develop processes or whatever it is. Don't assume that just because somebody has a nice big fancy title from another company that it's necessarily going to work. So just be careful on that. That's what I would say there.
That was good. Noah, can you still hear me?
I can hear you. I can't
Just
see
case
you.
I don't know. It's like my camera did some kind of update. I don't know what's going on with it.
All
It just
right. Well, I'm still here. So
yeah,
so we can.
it decided to update. Oh,
There
I'm
you go.
back.
There you
Oh,
are.
there I am. Yeah. It started blinking and then it went out. Oh well. Okay.
All right.
Well, the camera is smarter than me. Thank you very much. All right. That was a great answer, and you hit it, man. I've actually seen it. I've seen where like some superstar from some really well organized, very large construction company, superstar technician or superstar admin person or whatever, they join up with a small mom and pop operation, a local business, and I mean, they're frustrated. They're pulling their hair out. They don't like it. They're just, they turn super negative really quick
Mhm.
because, you know, it's just no one, they didn't understand that the reason they were a superstar is because they were really good. They had some superstar processes in place and they were good at following those.
Right.
And without those processes, they don't really know what to do
Mhm.
if they don't have those processes. So
Right.
yeah, that is too true.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, if you're a small business and you hire somebody that, you're looking for people that already know what they're doing, I guess you would have to prepare yourself for them to do it their way and not your way.
Mhm.
You'd have to be, unless you're going to spend the time to train them, right?
Right. Right.
Um, but if you're going to be training them, you might as well just train somebody new, pay them a little less. All right. Uh, how do I know if the type of work I do even requires a license in my state?
So that's a really good question, and there are easy answers for that. And there's first of all, there's over 5,000 licenses in the United States. Okay, so it's not ever. It's maybe a hard answer, but I guarantee you, if you call a contractor licensing company, you will get that answer. Okay, there are certain states that do not require licenses, like Texas doesn't have general contractor licenses. There are weird. There are super weird licenses out there. I've seen the craziest things. I mean, there are county licenses, state licenses. But I can tell you, first of all, if you're going to do anything, my recommendation, no matter what state you're in, if there is a license and there's a license you can choose at the county level or the state level, always choose the state level. You may think I'm going to save. It's much easier to get into the county one. I can save money. I can do. You're going to want to grow, and the county license can be very limiting. Okay, so and certain states are getting rid of a county license, like Florida is eliminating a lot of county licensing that has state equivalents. So if but we at one example, we've always recommended to go for the state license. That's always been the recommendation. It's the most financially responsible thing to do. But in general, you can do a check on a state contractor website. But I wouldn't make the assumption. Don't just go on there and say, well, I see the license type, it says the name. Well, there are many different types of licenses, like Virginia, class A, B, and C, right? There are so many different licenses depending on the state. And like Tennessee has some really crazy, weird names for licenses. They're, 20 letters long. I mean, there's different, combinations of letters and things like that. So um, I wouldn't do this on your own. It's a free phone call to any contractor license school, and they will give you a good answer. They will tell you your options. But in most states there are licensing. But there are definitely some states that don't even require the licensing, which is good for you.
There you go, from the man himself that has the premier contractor exam prep company. Heard it from the horse's mouth. Next question. I've been doing side jobs without a license. What are the real risks if I keep going this way?
Um, well, the biggest risk, and to just do some. You can quickly do some Google searches and type in contractor unlicensed sting operations. Uh, Florida has it all the time. So if you're in Florida, they love to make news and they go round up people, especially around hurricane time. Right after hurricanes, you see all those other people from other states. They come in and they're storm chasers, and they love to round them up. I've seen, there's been news stories where they rounded up, 50, 100 people, and then they bring you to jail, and it's not fun. And it's funny, you will talk to a lot of these storm chasers. They'll call you, yeah, I'm coming down to Florida. I'm gonna do work, and then like a month later, no, I'm not. I know I'm not. No, I'm not coming down. You call them back. Nope, not doing any work. Nope, sorry. And they quickly realize that it's not for them. So the real risks are it's criminal. You could go to jail, get
Yeah,
fined.
you could get
You could,
arrested.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of risk, and um, there are lots of ways to do things. if you don't have a license, right? So there you can partner with other contractors. You can work under another contractor. Do it right, but just don't do it without a license, because you're risking your career. So,
You will eventually be caught.
mhm.
I mean, like you just cannot operate outside the law on a
just,
permanent basis.
just think about it. States make a tremendous amount of revenue from licensing people. Okay, that is one of their ways. Many states have gone away from the income tax, right? I think there's like 20 plus states that have gone away, and they
Yep.
don't like to, people don't like taxes. So what's another way to tax people without really people noticing is to do
Licensing.
licensing, right? And so it's a tremendous form of revenue to control people and to make sure that they're doing, and also keeping it. I mean, it is a good thing because
Of
they got to
course.
stick to the laws and all that kind of stuff. But if the state has a way to make money at it and they're seeing you skirt that, then they will come after
Yeah.
you.
I mean, they make money per permit pull. They make money
Mm,
per inspection done. Like
sure.
if you are doing a project requires multiple inspections, you're paying for each one of those inspections. That's a ton of money that they're
Hmm.
not getting from you if you are
Hmm.
not licensed.
Exactly. Right. So they have reason to come after you.
Yeah, they have a financial incentive to chase you
Hmm.
down. So
Right.
yeah, be careful out there.
Hmm.
All right. I've heard getting licensed is expensive and slow. Is it really worth it if I'm just starting out?
Uh, yes. I'm
Yeah.
again. I'm gonna tell you
That's like
from.
a piggyback off the last question, right?
Yeah, yeah. It does not look. There are you can with every service and every, I'm sure, every contractor school, you can do things as cheaply as possible. Meaning, if you are somebody who can learn great on your own, you can study great on your own. You don't need a lot of help. You don't need to attend classes. You can do a self study course. You can do all that. You're going to save a lot of money. Okay, but what we found is that the reality is the more help you have and the more you commit to it, it's not expensive relative to what you're going to be making. I promise you, it's not expensive for that, and it really isn't that expensive. But if you get the help and you rather than spend a lot, so if you think you can do it on your own and you waste 6 months doing it or 9 months or a year and you keep putting it off, that is going to get expensive because you're going to constantly have to renew your course. You're going to be wasting time, and that time is money, right? So spend the time, spend the money, get the help, either do live classes, get tutoring, um, get assistance with your application. All those things that you can do. The more professional help you can get, the quicker you will get licensed, and it is worth it because, like we tell everybody, the second you get licensed, that first job is more than it's tripling, quadrupling the cost
Oh,
that
yeah.
got you into that license. Okay, and you have something for life as long as you do continue education, right? So it's such a no-brainer to get a license. It's the cheapest way to get a degree that actually means something in this world, right? You get a degree in some, in history or economics, whatever, that doesn't guarantee you a job, right? But getting a license pretty much guarantees you a job if you, for any number of ways, right? Starting your own business, going to work for somebody. I mean, there's so many reasons why getting a contractor's license is financially,
Oh, yeah.
liberating. So
Oh, man. Yeah, it'll
just
pay for
just do it.
itself. I mean, 10 times in the first
Mm,
year. Like, no,
yeah,
it.
much more than that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if expensive is a relative term, then it is not expensive.
Yeah, you can figure out if you picked up the phone to call and we're interested, you can figure out there, like us at One Exam Prep, we give you many different ways to get in, even if finances are an issue. There's just like you just have to commit to wanting to do it, and you gotta put your effort into it.
Yeah, and it's only slow if you want it to be slow, right? It's only
Right.
slow if you take your time. But I paid for tutoring. When I wasn't doing going through one exam prep, I took the class. I studied because I took it serious, and I took some time off of work once in a while
Mhm.
to study, and I paid for tutoring. I mean, it
Right.
was just worth it, right? So it just was what it was. to not have a license was a whole lot more expensive than class and some tutoring. That's for sure. So you talk about expensive, not having a license is expensive in construction. So, yeah, absolutely. It is worth it for sure. That's the question, right? Is it really worth it if I'm just starting out? Absolutely. All right. I'm already doing roof repairs. Would adding a solar license help me upsell, or is it too much of a pivot?
Well, Michael,
I
I
feel
think
like I
this is
could
something
answer
that you
this
can
one.
answer. You can
I
answer this
could.
one.
I feel like I could answer this one. So if you're already doing roof repairs, I'm assuming as a licensed roofer, um, adding a solar license would help you upsell. I don't know if anybody's aware, but well, I guess it depends on what state you're in too. In many states throughout the country, um, I live in Florida, so Florida was one of them. There was like a gold rush for solar. It like so rooftop solar really just exploded in a lot of areas, and uh, they I don't want to. Sometimes they leak. They break. Um, sometimes you put, somebody can put rooftop solar, and then 5 years goes by, and suddenly the insurance company says, "Hey, your roof is now 10 years old, and you have to replace it." Or a storm comes through and does damage to the shingles or the metal panels, and so now you have to remove the solar panels, or you have to remove them and reinstall them. As a roofer, you can't reinstall them, not legally. I mean, physically you might be able to, but um, there's a lot to it. If you don't know what you're doing, it's disastrous. Which I mean, a lot of what I do is I go behind uh, roofers that are like removing and reinstalling solar panels that don't know how to reinstall solar panels.
Hmm.
So then I go and uninstall them again and make repairs to the roof and then reinstall the solar panels again. So a lot of my revenue is going behind people that are doing exactly what they shouldn't be doing, which is unlicensed contracting. So and yeah, it's a huge upsell. So like everybody needs roofs, right? Not everybody needs solar, but the people that have solar, they would almost always rather go with a roofer that is also a licensed solar contractor. So if it's between you and another, so if it's somebody that has solar, which is a lot of people, somebody that has solar, and they have a choice between going with a roofer and a separate solar contractor to make this re-roof project happen, or going with a licensed roofing and solar contractor to make the project happen, you're going to win, I don't know, 99.9% of the time.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. You've niched down and now you're A plus B rather than A or B, right? So absolutely. I think you're 100% right. If you found an interesting niche, and I think there's definitely a lot of opportunity in that. So there are other kinds of licenses that have piggybacks as well. You're a GC, you add a roofing license, you can do, it's a big add-on. So if you're GC and you add electrical or whatever it is, I mean, you've just increased your ability to beat other competitors that only possess one of those licenses.
Absolutely. And the truth is, going from, just having a roofing license to having a roofing and solar, is you went from basically your primary customer is new business. Whereas with solar, there's a tremendous amount of service work involved in solar. So
Mhm.
you can have service contracts, consistent monthly revenue from the same customers over and over again. Because roofs don't really break too often, but solar panels do. So yeah, you could absolutely upsell if you added solar. So great question. All right. I've been getting side job offers on weekends. How do I know when it's smart to go full time on my own?
Well, I assume that this question comes from somebody who's working for somebody, and
Must be.
they're thinking about when is it time to start my own business because I've been working for this person, and now it seems like I can do this on my own. Um, this is I don't know. I think it's a point in your life when you're ready to make the next step, and you're ready, and you have to commit because there's never going to be a time that you're perfectly comfortable with it. I don't think there is. I think you have to make a decision. Now, the good thing is getting your license does take a little bit of time, so that's a great opportunity. Just just going out and studying for your license exam is starting that process, right? So if you're getting side jobs and you're thinking about this, like, could I do this on my own? Well, getting your license is not going to stop you from doing your job, right? You can study at night, you can do whatever you have to do, and then you get your license. You've now got yourself a asset on your name. You don't even have to leave your job necessarily if you don't want to, but you have that asset to pull the trigger whenever you want, right? So that's what I would do is I would just start, I would, if you can do these side jobs and you can do it, without a problem and it doesn't interfere with your work and you're, staying legal, then, I think that's a great thing to do. And it gives you some experience, and it also allows you to give you confidence to go study for your exam, get your license. You can even work on setting up your business while you're still employed, and quietly on the side, and that you can do that. And then you can say, I'm ready to, so you can, you want to leave as little exposure as possible, right? When you're leaving, because you're going to lose a paycheck. So you want to have everything set up, and getting your license is a great thing to do when you're doing that. But Michael, I think that's something that you also went through, right? So what do you think?
I would say, you're going to be dipping your toe in the ethics pond on this
Mhm.
one as well. I mean, so if we're talking about, you work for somebody that has a particular trade license, HVAC,
Mhm.
and you're doing side work that's in HVAC,
Right. True. Yeah. Yeah.
are
Mhm.
you stealing customers?
True. Yeah.
If you're stealing customers, then you need to really
Well, that's a
hurry up.
different story,
You're
but
right. I that
yeah,
so
yeah.
I don't know.
I'm not thinking like I'm thinking like you're an HVAC person, but you're a handy person, so you start to get jobs to do, whatever.
So
From
yeah, that's a
Yeah,
complete yeah,
yeah,
like if you're like installing cabinets on the side, you're an
right,
HVAC
yeah,
guy, but like you're doing cabinet work on the side or something that's, not competitive with, where you do with your current employer. Well, no, that's a totally completely different scenario. I mean, by all means, you absolutely should be like, focusing on a dream of your own outside
mhm,
of it helping your employer build their dream. There's
right,
nothing wrong with helping someone else build their dream, as an
mhm,
employee. There's nothing at all. It's just, I mean, you should have your own dream as well.
mhm,
And so absolutely pursue your own dream outside of that. But yeah, but if you're like doing the same thing as your employer, and if your weekend work is because you went on a service call
right,
and the customer needs some work, but your employer's too expensive, so you're like, oh, I know a guy that does it cheaper,
yeah. And
and
you know what? I've seen that a lot. Unfortunately, you're right. I see that a lot. And you want to know that's how you quickly go and become your own boss very quickly because you get fired.
did you get
And
fired? Yeah,
and you're like,
absolutely.
now, wow, I picked up
Yeah.
those couple of side jobs. Well, you better have enough
And if
side
you're not
jobs to make it
licensed, you get
work.
arrested too.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to be doing that to your boss, you should definitely have a license first. So, because if they were real vindictive, then they wouldn't just let you go.
And
They would.
in many states, and in some states, you need an actual like affidavit by the person you're working for to get experience. but you're certainly going to be listing your boss as experience with the state. And so if you mess around and you're like, you haven't gotten your license, you passed your exams, you haven't gotten your license yet, and you're thinking like, oh, I'm just a few weeks away from getting my license, and you mess around with your boss, guess what? You can get called before the board, and they can challenge you on your experience, and they can call up your, they can, the board, it's up to them. They can, it's not binary decision. They can, if they think there's borderline something going on, they can challenge you, call you before it, and you don't want to be called before the board. It's not the best, the chances are not great if you get called before the board, because there's a reason you got called there. Most of the time they do not do that.
I will verify. I was not called before the board. So yeah, I mean, I have multiple
Yeah.
licenses, and I was never called
I,
before the board.
well, I can tell you in one of the licenses, we were called before the board, and on the day we were called before the board, there were 33 people that were
Oh,
called
wow.
before the board, and guess how many people got approved?
How many?
Two. Two.
Oh,
My license and our license and one other. So you don't want to get called before the board, because I can tell you it is a bleep show when you get, because the people who do it, you can tell they're like, it was clear they didn't have the right experience. They applied on their own. They didn't, it's so obvious when you go there and you listen to the stories of them talking. They're like, any application assistance company would have told them, you're not going to get approved. You're not doing this right. You didn't fill it out right. So people constantly make the mistake thinking they can save a few $100s. Literally, you're saving a few $100s trying to do the application on your own. And you don't know what you're doing, and you're getting called before the board. Again, these are all months that go by and waste time. And it's not good. You don't want to go. It's a scary thing to get called before the board. So,
yeah.
but your
Well,
points, yeah.
so I guess in conclusion for this question, if you are ethically doing side work, then once your side income approaches somewhere
Mhm,
close to your full-time income, it's safe to walk away. But if you are, or if you have like if you have like money saved up and you've got a plan in place,
mhm,
that also works. If you've
right,
got like 3 to 6 months, even 12 months of living expenses saved up, and you've got a plan, then that's awesome. But
right,
if you're stealing work, or if you're like if for sure, like let's say you're not stealing work, but you're not supposed to be in competition with your employer, right? It's understood.
mhm,
Maybe you signed a non-compete, or
right,
there's an agreement
mhm,
that like
mhm,
if you're doing this trade while you work for
mhm,
me and it's not
mhm,
for me, then you don't work for me anymore. If you're being unethical, then you need to hurry up and just do your own thing. And because that's it's just
mhm,
not good. It's going to come back. It's somehow, some way, it's going to come back on you.
absolutely, yeah, mhm,
All right, that's a good question, though.
mhm.
Um, okay, I've saved some money, but I'm worried about losing steady paychecks. How much cash cushion do I really need to make the leap?
Well, you just talked about saving some, having some money saved aside. I would contend that the majority of people in America working for a contractor, most likely, many of them are, might be living paycheck to paycheck, right? They're living close to that, right? Saving 3 to 6 months, the majority of Americans do not have 3 to 6 months saved up. That's the reality. Okay, it's hard now. It really is hard nowadays to
Hmm.
do that.
It is.
Um, but so, um, how much cash cushion do you need to really make the leap? Um, I, I, I think, if you've saved money, and again, do as much as you like. If you want to get into business, just go get your license on the side. That's not really doing anything ethically wrong. If you want to get your
That's right.
license, you can tell your boss, I'm going to be getting my license at some point. I'd like to be getting my license. If you feel like you know, but
Yeah.
doing that, bettering anytime you're bettering your career on the side is not really an issue. Um, and
No,
that's
would you say it maybe depends on like how much, like if you already have work coming in, right? Like if you already have work coming in, maybe you don't need as much of a cushion, right? If you're doing no advertising, you barely have any business established, you don't have a client base, you don't
right.
have people calling you, you don't have referrals, you're not making money doing something else, then you probably need a lot more of a cushion because you're going to be starting from scratch as opposed to if you're working for somebody else, but you're also working for yourself and you've built up a referral base where you're
Yeah.
regularly getting work
Yeah,
already.
but think about this. If you leave your job and try to start out on your own and you have a license, what's the worst case scenario? You can go back and get another, most likely get another job,
Oh,
right? With
yeah.
and if it doesn't work, you're not maybe you're not cut out to be an entrepreneur and it's not for you. But guess what? If you have a license and go back and get another job, you're more likely to get actually might even get a better paying job, right? Because your
Oh,
license carries weight. You can
totally
use your
agree.
license. You can actually use your license in that company. And here's another thing, right? And most people know, or maybe not know this, but I think most people do, is that when you're licensed, you actually can earn money, right, at qualifying other people. Okay,
Right.
so there are things you can do to actually, even without working, there are people who qualify other contractors. Now that's a whole different topic, and depending on the state, there are some people that you can sometimes you can do it for multiple licenses, sometimes you can do it for one license, but people make a decent living just by almost it's I wouldn't say it's renting out your license because you're on the hook, but you can do there is a legal way with the state where the state gives that contractor its own license number, but and it's a whole different topic. But the point is you have lots of options as a contractor. So again, you don't have to leave your job until you get licensed. And once you have your license, you have many options.
Yeah,
That would be my
I
recommendation.
totally agree. But yeah, before you have a cushion, you should have a license. Yeah, I
Hmm.
mean, I think the license is more important than the cash cushion for sure.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you said it. Um, well, I guess that's all the time we have for today, Noah.
Okay.
Once again, really grateful for all your time and all the knowledge that you shared. This is, I think, super informative. I mean, I know I learned something every time
Oh,
I have a
I
conversation with you.
well, I definitely got to learn something about roofing and solar licensing. It makes a lot of sense what you said. So I definitely learned some things today too.
Well, cool. Well, I'm glad. And for anybody listening or watching, if you found this information helpful, please like, subscribe, share the video. It helps the channel. It helps us create more videos. And if you have some suggestions or you have some questions, please leave a comment, send us a message. Just let us know anything that you want to know, or if there's something in particular that you've been wondering about. Just let us know. So thanks again for everybody watching or listening, and thank you, Noah, for your time today. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Michael.